Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the NFL betting preview presented by EliteSportsBetting.com. First and foremost, how about them Wolverines? Just get that out of the way. Shout out Duke. Great game yesterday, but it was time for you to lose one. Anyway, interesting slate today, in my opinion. A lot of games that are still on the board that I think have value. I won't say a lot, a couple. We saw some movement. A lot of games have some big injury problems, so that'll be interesting to go through. And I'll give it about 30 more seconds here before we go. I have some CLV, which usually ends up bad. Definitely this year in the NFL, if you get too much CLV, it just turns out to not be good. I've noticed, but yeah. If you missed this before the game start, you can go on Twitch at Elite Betting, YouTube, Elite Sports Network. Follow and subscribe there. Right after I'm done, the videos will pop up there, and you can rewatch everything. I got the banners there. You can skip through to whatever game you're looking for a breakdown on. I mentioned injuries. Tennessee at New England's first game on the board, and injuries are riddled through this one. New England's -7, totals 42.5, shaded towards the over here. I can say I slightly agree with that over juice, but it's nothing. I'm not overcoming the heavy juice to make it worth a play here. Obviously, AJ Brown, he goes on the IR. He's out. Julio Jones is out again. Obviously, Derrick Henry. Nichols, the backup running back, is out. Harold Landry was questionable this week. Bud Dupree went on the IR. I think last week or 2 weeks ago. Rashaan Evans is out today. A million injuries. This Tennessee offense, since Henry went out, has not functioned. They just can't get the play action going. I don't know if because of his just kind of being able to wear down a defense and just gain minimum of 3-4 yards every time, it seems, has really switched how this offense, and they just cannot find the right pieces to put together here. They've just been bad. They can't move the ball. Now they go up against a really good defense in the Patriots this year. Pat's defense is currently, when filtering out garbage play, top 5 in EPA per play. I am aware that's before you adjust for opponent. I'm aware that they have played some bad quarterbacks this year, but it's without a doubt that they've been one of the better units in football. Really see this struggling for Tennessee today. I couldn't score on Houston last week. New Orleans, they only had 264 yards of offense against New Orleans. Now, I will say Houston's defense is terrible. They did put up some yards. They had 5 turnovers, so a little bit of a misleading if you just look at points. I think they were better than what we saw. But, that's kind of been, I don't want to say like this has been Tannehill, but he threw 4 interceptions without Derrick Henry, and he hasn't exactly been great. The yards per attempt are way down from where we've expected it over the last couple of years. And he's just not really taking care of the ball. Put the ball on the turf twice last week with those turnovers. I think this Patriots defense matches up well there. As for this line, I don't know. 7 is probably, I have this Mac Jones. I still don't think he's been great. Again, not including garbage time in this one, Mac Jones is 13th in EPA, or sorry. He's about league average in EPA per play this year. I'm not saying that that's not good. That's really good for a rookie. I think he has one of the best coaching staffs. I think they know what to do for him. I just can see this offense not exactly humming at certain times. Sure, they crushed the Browns a couple weeks ago, scored 24 on the Panthers, 24 on the Falcons, 25 on the Falcons. 27 against the Chargers. The yardage totals in those games: 352, 273. They smoked the Browns, 452 yards, 308 against the Falcons. Like, there's just not a ton of yards to be had. They've only eclipsed 350. What am I looking at? 4 times this year. Opening week against the Dolphins. 2 yards over 350 for 352 against the Texans. The Jets, they put up 551. That game was a joke. It's 4 times. 352 for the Chargers, and then 452 against the Browns. So, again, I don't know what to really make of this offense. They kind of just do enough. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Tom Brady Patriots at the end there, where it was like, oh, he doesn't throw the ball downfield, but they get a lot of positive plays. Slight lean to Tennessee, cannot get involved. Slight numbers lean, but with all these injuries, cluster injuries, I'm not confident that I'm able to really judge the impact there. So nothing for me in Tennessee and New England, and I spent entirely too much time talking about that game, but I thought the injuries were pretty interesting. So next game, Jets at Houston. Houston is a -2.5 point favorite at home. Totals 45.5. This one's tough. It's Wilson again. The Jets are kind of a mess. Mike White and both Flacco are out. Wilson will be going. So it's kind of tough because Zach Wilson's looked really, really bad. Just pulling up my ratings on quarterbacks here. Yeah, I mean, he's been, I have him as the second worst quarterback. I have him worse than Sam Darnold. Like, that's so far. Now, it's tough because small sample, right? But he's way down by himself in regards to this EPA per play. Justin Fields has not been good. Whether you want to blame the play calling and definitely the early part of his career, but he's shown some flashes. Zach Wilson has really not shown those flashes yet. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been good, but he's not anywhere close to Zach Wilson. The problem is Houston stinks. Houston's defense is terrible. We're looking at EPA per play. Houston ranks 25th. They have not played the best schedule, so adjusting that for they get a little bit worse. And I've been a fan of Tyrod. I really thought I'd be on the Texans here, but I make this kind of in range, slight lean. Just not enough for me to really go in here because of how I don't know if Tyrod's not right. He was really bad like he should be, right? Like he should be right. Gets a text 14-24 for 107 yards. It's Titans last week, 6 carries for 28 yards. I know he had 2 touchdowns. That's kind of what's needed from him. But man, I cannot like this Dolphins game. So he's 14 of 24 for 107, and the Dolphins game he was 24 of 43 for 240 with 3 interceptions. I don't think the interceptions will happen. I think he knows how to control the ball. This Jets defense isn't any good either. So I do think, like, spread pool wise, definitely if you get the 2.5, I think it was 3 earlier in the week. I think Houston's worth a shot here, but it's more of a Wilson fade, if you will. If you're still a fan, if your model or whatever, if you're making your own numbers are believing in Wilson, then you're probably on the Jets here. But I lean Texans. I have a slight lean, the slightest of leans to the over. But again, I don't know if Tyrod's 100% healthy. He just hasn't looked good. He looked much, much better in the first 2 games of the year before he got hurt. The bye week was in there. I feel like he should be good, but I need to see a little bit more from Tyrod before getting involved in Texans games. All right. First bet of the week. Philly and New York Giants. Right now, Giants are plus 3.5. Total is 45 with some juice to the over, or 45.5, depending where you're looking. I bet the Giants under 46 at minus 109. Pretty happy. Got some CLV there. Thing that does worry me a little bit in this game is that Jason Garrett got fired from play calling duties. That's no bueno. Uh, One reason that worries me is because you can really change up what you do, and now the Eagles defense can't game plan for it. Right, your tendencies are off, and it just doesn't look great. But I don't think Saquon Barkley's been healthy. Sterling Shepard's out. Tony is doubtful. Jackson's questionable this week with an injury. Pettis went on the IR. I didn't mean to say Jackson. Kyle Rudolph is questionable. Like, there's just a ton of injuries here on the offensive side of the ball, where you're still probably limited in terms of an athletic standpoint. I know the Eagles have been scoring, 44, 24, 30, 40 in their last 4 games. You look at the defenses they played in that game. Detroit, the Chargers defense that's where they only scored 24. The Broncos defense, really, like, that was without Von Miller. Not really super impressed there. Saints defense, impressive game from them last week. I will give them that. We look at the Giants offense. The highest points they scored 29 against Washington. Early in the year, they scored 27 in overtime against the Saints, even so 21 in regulation. Then up with 25 against Carolina. So that's it. 25 and 29 are their above average scoring outputs this year. 17, 23, and 10 the last 3 weeks. I've said it before. I think this Philly defense is solid against bad teams. Now, it all goes back to the play calling for the Giants. Maybe they totally switch it up and things don't look great for it's hard to game plan for. I don't know how that's going to go, but I think this under. I don't think the Philly offense moves the ball all that well. I know the Giants defense has been banged up. It's just, again, I go back to the Eagles offense. A lot of their success on offense this year has been in garbage time. This game should be kind of close. I know they're 12th in EPA per play, but again, it's a lot of time. It's coming in comebacks. I'm not super impressed. Giants 25th in EPA per play this year. I didn't have my garbage time filter. Let me go back here. I was gonna say I thought that Eagles number was high. Eagles dropped to 17th in EPA per play if you take out garbage time. So don't think either offense has a good advantage here. I think we're getting an inflated line because of how the Eagles looked against the Saints last week. But I think the Giants, I think the Eagles defense is good enough to stop the Giants. My only issue here is maybe the Giants with the new play calling can have some points going over here. Both defenses are, I think, solid against bad teams. Like even the Giants, against the Raiders gave up 16. Chiefs a couple weeks ago only gave up 20. Panthers bad offense, 3 points. Rams good offense, 38. Cowboys good offense, 44. Saints not a good offense. They gave up 21. Falcons not a good offense, 17. So I know there's been some injuries of late. Peppers on the back end. Michigan is out, but I don't like either offense here in this game. Tampa Bay and Indianapolis. I wrote this backwards. Hold, please. Indy is plus 2.5. If you're betting Tampa, it's gonna have some juice with it. Oh yeah, even more since I started. We might be going back to 3 here. This went from 2.5 to 3 early in the week. Right now 2.5. I'm seeing 2.5, minus 2.5, minus 123. I bet the Bucks -2.5, -107 earlier in the week. The total is 53 here. Um, I think this is like just basically just straight up overreaction to the Colts last week. If you follow my picks, I was on the Colts under. Pretty tough lost by a score. Isaiah McKenzie, on the kickoff, tripped, fumbled. Colts returned it back to the 2. Next play, touchdown. So 370 total yards of offense. I talked about this a little bit on Lunch Money on Thursday with the crew. This Colts offense with the run game, Reich has really taken the load off of Carson Wentz, I'll say. Excuse me. They run the ball pretty efficiently. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor having a great year. And that playing off of that really helps with Carson Wentz decision making. They've done a really good job of not turning the ball over. And I think that is because Carson Wentz doesn't just have to drop straight back and throw a ton. They could not run the ball against the Tennessee Titans early this year. The Colts could not. 83 yards in that game. If we look at it, Carson Wentz, 2 interceptions. They couldn't. A 49ers game, I'm not going to count because of that ridiculous score. 123. I know these are like decent running numbers, right? But 123 against the Colts. No interceptions against the Ravens. No interceptions for Wentz in that game. He actually had a very good game. But they only scored 25 points for all the yards they had. Offense just isn't as efficient when they can't run the ball. As probably everybody knows, the Bucs defense against the run this year is ridiculous. If you look at rush EPA per play, they are the best in the league by a wide margin. The gap from 1 to 2 in rush EPA per play is essentially from number 2 to like 13. That's how much better they are than the rest of the league. Literally, teams have just abandoned the run because it's just not worth it to try to go against this Bucs front. Quentin Nelson was injured last week. He's going to be good to go, but could be a little bit banged up. Darius Leonard again was on the injury report this week. Outside of that, I mean, T.Y. Hilton was on it, but he looks good to go as well. Willis is still out, safety, but for the most part, Colts are one of the healthiest teams in the league right now. Tampa, Marpet is out. I don't love that. That is that does make me a little nervous. Mike Evans is in. Antonio Brown's not in. I really was hoping we get Brown back because this defense is great. But Vita Vea is in. Jason Pierre-Paul in. Devin White's questionable. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried. Vita Vea being the big one, though. If I can't see Carson Wentz dropping back and having a great day here. Definitely if you're going to get points from Tampa Bay's offense, which is kind of safe to say. I don't love it when Indy has to play from behind. They had to play behind early in the year. Seattle and LA, they couldn't come back. Even Tennessee, they were playing from behind, and then they kind of got this win streak going here. Their 2 losses being in overtime, and they've won. They've got 6-2 in that time frame. But this team is built on running the ball, making it easier. I think Reich is a good coach. I think he's able to really, make Carson Wentz look a lot better than he is. I mean, if we look back, Carson Wentz is, completing 63% of his passes. The big thing, though, less than 1% interception percentage this year. His career high was career low was 1.2 back in 2019 with Philly. He's sack percentage is career low. They're just doing a lot of things to make it easy for him, and I don't think they're going to have the run game today. Don't love the matchup for the Colts offense. Tampa Bay offense, Tom Brady. I don't really need to go much into it. Other than that, I don't think this Colts. I think this Colts defense is a little bit overrated. EPA per play, they're 6th. Rush EPA per play, they're 4th. They go back, they drop a good bit back, drop back EPA per play, they're 12th. Obviously, that bodes well for the Bucks, who were 6th in drop back EPA per play. The Bucks do run the ball well as from an EPA per play standpoint, but 3rd overall offense here. I think it matches up. I'll gladly take Tom Brady minus under a field goal in a dome against a team that likes to run the ball with this Bucks rush defense. So I still think it's good. Honestly, if you are looking at a like heavily juiced -2.5, I'd probably like if you can get sub 120, 2.5, probably worth playing it. But like I know you can get like a -105 on a 3 right now. There's a +100 out there on a 3. Don't be afraid of the smaller juice at 3. If it's not worth paying the -2.5, -125 if you have a shop paying that, or even like a -130 if you have an out playing that. Don't be afraid to go to a 3. Because it's just not worth paying that much juice. Atlanta at Jacksonville. Jacksonville +1. A little bit of juice there. If you're betting Atlanta, you're going to be paying a price again. Total's 46. I bet the Falcons -1, -107. So a little bit of market agreement with me there as well. This was up to 2 earlier this morning. Still is 2 at some spots. Again, the 1 to 2 point change, a little bit more than in recent years. It's worth a little bit more in recent years because of the issues with moving the extra point back. Teams are going for 2 more, all these things. So the 2.5, it's a little bit more meaningful than years past. Like years past, you could just really skip the 2.5 because the extra point was so easy. It was like way over 99% make rate. But I'm going back with the Falcons. I had the Falcons against the Patriots. They look terrible. I think we're getting a little bit of a cheap price here because of that performance. I don't really know what to make of this Falcons team. I know with Calvin Ridley out, they haven't been great. But I will say last week it was trending up that Cordarrelle Patterson was going to go. He was warming up on the field. Things were looking good. He's been very dynamic for them. I think it helps when you have him and Kyle Pitts on the field. He didn't end up going. Their offense was pathetic. Patterson looks good to go this week. So him and Pitts are going to be able to be, they're going to be able to be dynamic in their offense. You can't just single in on Pitts now. Cordarrelle Patterson has been fantastic. Does make me a little nervous that Atlanta's scored 3 points in the last 2 weeks. But before that, 27 against the Saints. They only scored 13 against the Panthers, but 30 against the Dolphins. They were putting up some points early in the year. Now, sure, there's something to be said that maybe, they've been figured out. I know the Ridley situation hasn't been great without him, but, they've been banged up all year. But I look at EPA per play. I'm taking out garbage time. The Falcons are 15th in EPA per play. I know that's been trending down. I know. But I go to the Jags. Jags are 28th. The Jags are terrible. There's nothing the Jags have done well. I don't want to blame Trevor Lawrence. He's not looked very good, but the team is terrible. There's no talent on this team. We look at their point total since their bye week, just the last 4 weeks: 7 against Seattle, 9 against Buffalo, 17 against Indianapolis, 10 against San Francisco. Yardage 309, 218, 331, 200. That's just a terrible team. I don't know if it's because Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence, we get excited about this team. Looking at defensive EPA per play numbers, doesn't get like that much better here. The Falcons defense is terrible. They're 27th. But Jags are 31st. Like the Jags are they're just giving up points at every opportunity here. So Atlanta faces Dallas. Good pass rush. Atlanta's offensive line is not great. Last week, good New England defense. They get abused. Jacksonville's 31st in EPA dropback EPA per play. I just really cannot see Atlanta having a pretty consistent success. I think you're getting the better offense. You're getting the better quarterback, the better offense, the better defense. Maybe even the better coaching staff. I don't know. In this game, in a game in Jacksonville, how much home field are you giving Jacksonville? Less than a half a point, probably. I'll give you a half a point. I just don't think these teams are that close. This number and market has agreed. The -107 is gone a little bit. 10 cents. I mean, it's a pretty big number. There's some twos out there as well. So, yeah, I just think this is a get right game. Buy low spot on the Falcons. I think the Jaguars are bad. They beat the Bills in that weird game. The Bills have been weird this year in general. They made the comeback against the Colts to make that game look interesting. They were losing 20-6 at one point in that game, and then scored 11 points unanswered to come back there. Not unanswered, but 11 points after being down 14 to make it close. So not a fan of Jacksonville. Buy low spot on Atlanta here. Number's still good. At 2, I don't like it as much. I would put the -1. If you like a -115, I think you're good. -120 is probably my cutoff on -1. But yeah, I don't love the 2. It's okay. It's a smaller lean, but if you can get a cheaper -1, I think Atlanta's good spot here. Carolina and Miami, not going to spend much time here. This game's like right around a pick 'em. This was +1.5 when I started. There's been some money coming in on Miami. Totals come down since I started as well. It's down to 41.5. It was 42 when I started this. I haven't seen injury news. Don't know if anything popped up there, but Cam Newton and the Panthers, they looked okay last week, but it's just you're limited. Newton can't really throw the ball down the field. And then brief moment, I just want to talk about the Dolphins. Like low key, Tua's been kind of doing all right. It's kind of funny to think about, but Tua's been playing well. Tua's up to 17th in EPA per play. Earlier in the year, that was like just a terrible number. The success rate when Tua's on the field, 17th, like he's just 17th across the board. He's been trending up. Now, I still think this Miami offense is bad, but the defense has also been trending up. They've been playing much better of late. One of the more surprising things in my mind was of the season was the start that the Miami defense had. I know they had some injuries, but they were just terrible. And then last 3 weeks, I know Houston, Baltimore, and Jets, not the greatest offenses. Baltimore's offense is good there, but 9, 10, and 17. Now you're going against you have a bad Panthers team. They're 4-7. They were 1-7. They won 3 in a row here. Bad Panthers team, bad Giants team, bye week, and then bad Jets team at New Orleans is a very winnable game. At the Titans, if they can't figure out their offense, is a very winnable game, and then home against the Patriots. All of a sudden you're very easily could be looking at 7-7, and then even 8-8 is in the cards here for the Dolphins. But I'm right on market here. If anything, I have a slight lean to the over. I think Carolina can move the ball. I think their like floor as an offense was raised with Newton. Their ceiling probably got a little bit of a bump too, but I think their floor came up more than anything. And I think this Dolphins, like Tua's been kind of figuring things out for them. But I'm on market. Not much to say about this one. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's -3.5. Total's 43.5. Again, tough game to really get hold on all week because of the injuries on the Steelers side of things. Joe Hayden was announced out yesterday. TJ Watt is probable. It looks like he's going to be good to go. I believe he had a full practice. Excuse me. I believe he had a full practice on Friday. Ray McLeod tested positive for COVID. He is out. But outside of that, Minka Fitzpatrick's back. And if Watt goes, that's a huge gain for them. Pretty healthy on the offensive side. I know Ben's on the injury report. Not going to make too much out of that. Cincinnati. Auden Tate's doubtful today. You got a couple guys that it's kind of like this is where at the point where everybody's kind of on the injury reports. So a lot of people are banged up. I'd say for the most part, they're pretty healthy. Looks like everybody that was on the injury report this week is going to be probable, except for Tate. So healthy game for the Bengals. So this is an interesting one because if you straight look at obviously the Steelers offense is terrible. You look at EPA per play for the Steelers this year. They're 19th. I'm pretty confident that most people modeling and doing any sort of injury adjustments or player evaluations are going to say that the Steelers are better than that. EPA per play, their dropback EPA per play, they're 15th, 23rd against the run. Now, they've been getting abused in the running game lately. I know Devin Bush has been a part, that was kind of his like weakness when they drafted him was he's a smaller linebacker. Can he figure it out against the run? Kind of been a thing for the whole year though. The defensive line has been banged up. The interior, they haven't had Stephon Tuitt. Easily, or teams are getting to the second level against this Steelers defense. Now with Watt back, that's a big difference. Watt's missed a bunch of time. I know he was in there for that Detroit game, but there's something about, I haven't looked into this. Maybe I'll look into this in the offseason, but when a backup quarterback plays, I feel like the range of outcomes for like defensive, like how predictive a defense is when the backup quarterback is in, I feel like is not a thing. Like there has to be something like about the like, I don't know if there's like a psychological thing there where the defense is just like, all right, this sucks. Like the Lions just ran all over him. It was more so in the first half of that game, but last 3 games, 136 yards against the Bears on the ground, 229 against Detroit, 159 against the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers threw all over them as well, and the Steelers almost won that game. I don't know what to make of it. Turnovers in that Detroit game made that game closer than it probably was. They're healthier this week, though. Fitzpatrick is decent against the run too. He comes up and helps from the safety spot. I think that's big as well. Is this Cincinnati offense one to take advantage of that? I don't know. They're 19th in EPA per play on the ground this year. 12th in dropback EPA per play. I've seen people talking about back in week 3. 268 yards of offense for the Steelers in that game, 342 for the Bengals. Bengals could not run in that game. They threw a decent bit, if you will. Burrow was, 18 pass attempts for 172 yards, 3 touchdowns. If you go back to that game, there was no JJ Watt for that game. I think Joe Hayden and Devin Bush left in that game, if I remember correctly. So can't really put too much stock into that. I don't think this Cincinnati defense or offense is built to run. They're super explosive in the pass game, right? They have obviously Chase and Burrow, that connection, and I don't think if they're gonna sit here and just run the ball, kind of even last week, like Pittsburgh had all these guys out on defense, and we're just gonna I think we're overstating the kind of the cluster injuries of your best corner, your best safety, and your best defensive end, like in the passing game. Just you got no shot. Think that kind of changes this week with Fitzpatrick and Watt back. I know Hayden's out, but just the ability to get some pass rush against Burrow. I know Burrow's great in the pocket, but that being said, I lean Pittsburgh here. I don't love the injury situation. This was like plus 3.5. I think this got up to 4.5 early in the week, but with the good injury news for Pittsburgh, um, this was a early in the week was like a 3.5 at plus money. It's kind of come down to Pittsburgh's side of things. So Pittsburgh's been getting some love in the market, and I agree. There's still some plus fours out there. I think it's worth it. Pittsburgh loves to play close games. Cincinnati kind of too. I just don't think this. I think this Pittsburgh defense is a little bit underrated right now because of how banged up they've been. Now, I'm not getting involved because I don't know. The key thing for me is if Watt had a hip and knee injury, if he's going today at like 80%, things are a little different here. But that if spread pool, I'd be on the Pittsburgh at the 3.5. If Watt was no injuries, Pittsburgh probably would have been a play for me. Because I don't know, this Bengals defense not great against the run. Pretty solid against the pass, but the Steelers, their pass is different. They do quick throws. You can't get pressure on Ben. You take away the quick throws. Claypool can get deep. They've kind of found a little bit of a run game. I know they didn't have them on much last week. They were losing a lot. They'd throw, but they had 5 straight 100 yards games before that. I don't know. Don't love the matchup for Cincinnati's defense. I think Pittsburgh can move the ball, and if Pittsburgh's defense if Watt's healthy, then I think 3.5. Like this game just has Cincinnati by a field goal all over it. So lean Pittsburgh there, but no play. Chargers at Broncos. Broncos plus 2.5. Totals 47.5. I was very, very close to playing Chargers this week. This was like 2.5 at even money. I was very close, kind of regret it because this might go to 3 today. But again, I don't, late in the week, I don't know how much market movement means right now. But this Denver team, just, I don't know. I know this could be used as a buy low spot, but I'm not going to use that subjective analysis here. They're just, I don't know. They had that weird game against Dallas, right? But 17-10 win over Washington before that. They got smoked by Philly 2 weeks ago. I know they're off the bye here, but like they started off well, 3-0, right? They play the Giants, Jags, and Jets, bad teams, and then you start playing some decent football teams. I would say every team that they've played since that 3-0 start is a good or at least like a bad team that has a pulse, if that makes sense. Like I don't think the Giants, Jags, or Jets really have pulse. You could say the Giants maybe, but I'm not going to put them in there. 7 points against the Ravens, 19 against the Steelers, and a lot of that was in garbage time. 24 against the Raiders, 14 against the Browns, 17 against Washington, 30 against Dallas in one of the weirder games that I've ever seen, and 13 against Philly. Teddy Bridgewater is just not it. They just don't have the offense. Chargers do. Like it's one of those games. Like this Denver defense, has been playing solid, but now the Von Miller thing. If that hurts, Herbert is a little bit mobile, not like Jalen Hurts was last week, but could give you some problems with they've given up yards this defense even before. 406 to Baltimore, 391 to Pittsburgh, 426 to the Raiders, 376 to the Browns, 342 to Washington. Held Dallas to 290. I don't know what happened in that game, but Philly 386. Like it's kind of hard for me to see that this Denver defense gets stops here. This Denver defense, in my model, is a below average unit now. Even definitely when you factor if you're factoring in Von Miller correctly, the loss of him. I don't see a lot of success here for Denver. There's a whole thought that Denver's home field advantage, a lot of it is in the first half of the year. We're getting kind of later into the season now. Maybe that's fading a little bit. I don't know, but 2.5 is a little bit short for me. Not enough to play it. Definitely not at the price now. But spread pool or whatever, if you need something in this game, I think the Chargers are the side here. Chargers are nothing, I should say. The total I think is just right. But yeah, this Chargers team, I don't know. It's tough. They're pretty inconsistent. We'll see. second-year quarterback. We'll see how that goes, but that's just how it goes with the second-year quarterback. But defense for the Chargers, not great. 25th in EPA per play. Dropback EPA per play. They're a little bit better. I know everybody makes fun of their rush defense because it's terrible, but it's just difficult to run that much and win. But 5th in EPA per play on offense. They don't run the ball very well. That's more towards average, but dropback EPA per play 4th. So just again, I think the defenses are kind of similar here. I think the Chargers are much, much, much better on offense. Give some home field for Denver, sure, but I think you're probably getting the better coaching staff, or not probably. You're 100% getting the better coaching staff with the Chargers here. So lean Chargers. There's if you can get a cheap 2.5, like under 115, if that's still out there for you, I think that's a solid play for the Chargers. I lean them at the current price. Minnesota at San Fran should be a very interesting game. One, because Minnesota, every game will come down to a field goal. So, like, if you're laying 3.5 here, good luck. Totally joking. Not going to spend a whole lot of time in this game. It should be a great game to watch. Unfortunately, it's up against that Rams-Packers game, same time slot there. But I'm right on market here. I make this 3.5, and I make the total 49. So literally nothing here. So yeah, I'm not even going to spend any more time. That's what it is. I'm just interested because San Fran with Jimmy G. Maybe I'm underrating Jimmy G a little bit. Jimmy G with George Kittle back in the lineup. He's just a totally different quarterback. And for all the people that say the 49ers stink, they're 7th in EPA per play. Their defense is not as they've had a billion injuries, 23rd in EPA per play. Jimmy G, right now, I don't think people know this. Despite all the kind of, we laugh at the 49ers each week. Number 1 in EPA per play this year, Jimmy Garoppolo. So I don't really know what I don't know. George Kittle's back. That offense is more complete now. His run blocking, all of it. Maybe I'm slightly underrating San Fran here, but I'm closer to I have some room to get up to 3.5 here. So maybe the market has adjusted for that. But interested to see how that offense looks with Jimmy G going forward and George Kittle getting healthier for the home stretch. What's their record here? NFC. Yeah, 5-5. They're in right now, actually. This is actually a huge game. I didn't realize. Minnesota 5-5, San Fran 5-5. They're in the 6 and 7 spots in the if this NFL thing is NFL standings are right. So yeah, huge game. There's actually both of these games, Rams Packers that I'm about to talk about, huge game. Fascinating. Who's Carolina? Yeah, so that'll be a good one. Didn't realize they're both there. Both teams really need this win. Definitely San Fran, considering how good the division is. But yeah, on market there, so nothing there for me. Rams at Packers. Another game that I'm not going to spend too much time on. You're going to get the Rams anywhere from like -1 to -2 right now. I have a slight lean towards I had a slight lean towards the under early in the week when this was 48. It's come down to 47. Obviously, Rodgers and his, I know it's broken toe or whatever, the rumors, whatever happened with the COVID toe thing, and Rodgers kind of botched that, whatever you want to say. He's banged up. I don't think he's really affected by it. But Matthew Stafford is banged up as well. He's a shoulder, back, he's like an old man playing there right now. Makes it kind of tough. I guess I have a slight lean towards Green Bay at the 2.5. 2.5 at home. Opposing quarterbacks banged up. It's tough. Kevin King, doubtful today. Rashawn Gary is good to go. Devontae Adams good to go. I haven't seen an update on Jones yet today. He was questionable. Aaron Jones. Lassard's questionable, but Jenkins on the offensive line. He went on the IR last week. That's a pretty big loss. So it's one of those things where you kind of want to wait and see. But we've seen Rodgers do this in the past with the offensive line. Bakhtiari, I feel like he's practiced like the last 7 weeks. He's still not good to go. Maybe next week. I feel like next week's going to be it for when he makes his debut this year. So those are some current concerns. Leonard Floyd's good to go for the Rams on defense. Outside of that, Rams are pretty healthy. Going down the stretch. So big game here. I'm on market. I guess if you're in a spread pool, if spread pool, this is one of those ones. I'll say this because this was a pick earlier in the week, or you might have even seen Green Bay as a short favorite earlier in the week. If your spread pool has them, even if you think Green Bay is the right side here, like I think at 2.5, Green Bay has the value. You want to take the Rams at a pick or one. You're taking the market value. Here, the market believes that the Rams should be favored by 2.5 points. So you're getting them at, pick them. Take the Rams. If it's 2.5, like you're getting later in the week, I'd say it's Green Bay. That's one of those things. That's what I struggle with on spread pools every week when a number moves. Definitely when it's like 0 2.5. Not that like important, but take the value if you can get it. But yeah, slightly lean towards Green Bay. Nothing on the total. I leaned under early in the week, but market has moved that down off of injury news to both quarterbacks. Does seem like, though, this is one of those games that can easily, like, this game could so easily get to 49, even with the injuries. Green Bay's defense, I think, is a little bit fraudulent. If these like Rodgers' toe injury is overplayed here, that's just something that I can see happening here. Cleveland at Baltimore. Huge game for Cleveland. The AFC playoff picture is a complete mess. The Ravens are -3.5. You're getting plus juice at that, so they're down to 3 at some shops. Total is 47. Another game that I'm basically on market with. So not going to spend all too much time. Baltimore, from an injury standpoint, I don't know if it's ever good this year for them. Duvernay is probable, which I think is a help. Lamar Jackson looks to be good. My man was struggling with the flu last week. He did not look good walking into that stadium, but he should be good to go for today. Cleveland, Conklin looks good to go. Kareem Hunt was activated. Jarvis Landry was he's good to go today. But I say this every week. Clowney was questionable. Looks like I assume he'll go, which is a big thing for their defense. But I say this every week. The key to the Browns is Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, over the last 2 years, when he's been hurt, has not played well. And this year, has not really been healthy since week 2 is when he separated his left shoulder. He has not been good. 21st in EPA per play this year amongst quarterbacks, with the minimum dropbacks that I use. Just hasn't been good for Mayfield this year. Now they have the run game that kind of helps it. He a lot of his throws lately have been high. That's one of the issues that I've noticed over the last 2 years when he has I don't know. I feel like he's got 17 injuries going on right now. Mechanics break down when you're injured. Throws start to sail. Baltimore defense is going to blitz, so he's going to have to be. They're going to blitz a ton. They love the blitz. They always have. He's going to be. Maybe he's going to be getting the ball quick. I don't know, but he's going to take some hits today, most likely. So we'll see how that adds up. But I think the market's correct right now. Wouldn't play anything. Definitely with the Mayfield injuries, Lamar Jackson illness. I think Jackson's going to be fine. I think the illness is one of those, it's not from a physical standpoint, but at the same time, sometimes with the flu, fluids, you're drained. I don't know. you could not be at 100%, but on market here. So nothing here. Kind of a tough week because there's a lot of injuries to quarterbacks that make it difficult. Like Tyrod, both of those quarterbacks in the game I just mentioned. Uh, Stafford and Rodgers are banged up. So like Cam Newton in the Carolina offense is brand new, so it's tough to get involved there. The Giants and I have a play in this game, but the Giants and their new offensive coordinator, see how that goes, and then Tennessee, like, are they able to figure it out? So Seattle at Washington, Monday night game, Washington +1. Just flipped from early in the week. Washington was -1. Totals 46.5. Again, on market here. I leaned Seattle early in the week. I figured the line would go that way. Stayed away because I don't know what to do with Russell Wilson's finger, and I think Taylor Heineke is kind of decent. Basically has the exact same numbers as Mac Jones. Worst coaching staff though, right? But doesn't get talked about. I said it to Dream actually, like back when Heineke first started. Like I actually really like what happens or what I'm seeing from Taylor Heineke. He just doesn't quite have the arm strength to be like a full-time starter. But like, man, he is fearless. Yeah, elite Dream. Yeah. I love watching Heineke play, like fearless, not afraid to make any throw. Wish he had. I truly believe if he had a little bit more arm strength, he'd be a franchise quarterback. I'm pretty confident of that. Now, like I think he's going to be a great backup for his career. I think like he's gonna kind of reminds me of Fitzpatrick in a way of like YOLO balling. It's kind of interesting that they're there. He's made some legit throws the last few weeks. Yeah, I mean, no, he has. He's been great. They've struggled in the red zone a little bit. I don't know if that's quarterback with his first real action. Maybe that'll get better in the future for him. But everybody loves Mac Jones and like how great he's been, and Taylor Heineke has been very similar to him. So put some respect on the football team, right, Dream? But yeah, so Seattle, I think the values on Seattle are nothing in this game. But with Russell Wilson's finger injury, I can't back Seattle. He came back early. It looks they just have not been right. He has not been right. It's just not been good. I don't think people realize this, but the Seahawks are 3-7. With wins over the Colts, 49ers, and Jags. 266 yards of offense last week against the Cardinals, 208 against the Packers the week before that. They're not running the ball. They've never really been a great running team, but they're not running the ball well. Defense is not playing all that well. The last 2 weeks either. They gave a 413 to Colt McCoy. They gave a 393 to Rodgers the week before. This team's just a mess. I can't really get behind them because, again, if I knew Russ's finger was 100% healthy, I'd be all in. But I just cannot get behind him. So if I adjust Russ down for an injury, I have this game right on market. Maybe a slight lean to the total, but or under. I can't get involved because of the uncertainty of Russ. If Russ is 100%, like he could score 35 in this game, and then you have Heineke battling from behind, just like willing himself to a fourth down conversion on a scramble. I just know how that goes. Should be a fun one to watch if Russ is healthy. We can see some offenses get going there, but yeah, nothing there for me. All right, Survivor. It's getting tough to really give Survivor advice at the end of the year. Buffalo, if you somehow still had them, I saw there's like 4% of people were picking them across the pools this week. If you still had them, they were a pretty good pick. Dallas was the other one that was the most picked team of the week. They lost, so Survivor survivor pools took a hit this week. But I think it's New England. If you didn't play though, if you didn't have Buffalo available, if you didn't have Dallas, if you didn't take Dallas on Thursday, it's New England by far. They're 7-point favorites. They're being picked about 10% of the time. You're getting a pretty good expected value number there. After that, though, if you somehow already took New England, man, Cincinnati is probably your pick if you still have them. After that, like San Fran, that's it. Cincinnati doesn't have much. They don't have like they're gonna have a bunch of like pick'em games and then end with Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cleveland. So where they're probably dogs. New England. It's really the last time to take New England until week 17. So if you have New England, I think it has to be them. Outside of that, Cincinnati, you're getting into a little dicey territory, taking a 3.5-point favorite in a divisional game, no less. So yeah, New England or nothing essentially for me. So that is it for me. I had the Saints under 46 on Thursday. That hit. That was a nice winner to start the week. Yeah, can't complain. I said the Saints offense was going to be terrible. It was terrible. They couldn't move the ball. The Bills did. They scored 31, but thankfully the Saints couldn't put up many more points. I got a little nervous there at the end. I thought the Saints were going to do the garbage time and ruin things for me. But I'm on Giants 46 minus 109, under 46 minus 109. That is, 45 and a half, 45 at some spots at plus juice, 45 and a half. So market agreement there. I played the Bucks minus 2.5, minus 107. That is now flipped to 3 at everywhere that I'm seeing. It's just short 3. But we're getting market agreement as well. And then Falcons minus 1, which is minus 1.5 or 2 everywhere. So market agreement there. So market agreement on all 4 of my games. I'm already 1-0, so 0-3 today is probably the most likely outcome because of all that market agreement. But I got good numbers. I subjectively love the card. I loved it a lot more before the Giants changed their play caller, but I still like that. Love the Bucks play. Love the Falcons play, despite the Falcons scoring 3 points over the last 2 games. So that's it. That's what we got going for today. I might be starting college basketball this week. I don't know. Need to just look into my model before getting going. I wanted to get all these Thanksgiving week games in. Teams play a lot of games this week, a lot of good opponents, out of conference matchups, get some good schedule metrics going. So that might be started up. And NBA is going well. Get back. It's been a little bit hectic around the holiday here, but we'll be back on schedule for NFL. We got NFL, college basketball, college football. Great season college football. We got the conference championship and the bowls coming up, and then obviously we still got some times the NFL left. So head over to elitesportsbetting.com for all your sports betting needs, Elite Fantasy for all your DFS needs, Fantasy Guru for all your season-long needs. Sign up with Betcha. You get Fantasy Guru free for the rest of the year. So yeah, head over to elitesportsbetting.com. All of our sites, get all your needs. And hopefully, if you're telling me today, we get some good luck and the market helps us out here. So that's it for me. Until next week, Frank and I will be back on Wednesday, I believe, doing the college football breakdown. Thursday, Lunch Money, Pilar, Ricky, Paulie, and me will be breaking down the NFL slate. And then Duke and I back again for Tailgate Teaser. Have to give him some crap because, how about them Wolverines? So until next week, good luck on your bets today and have a good rest of your weekend.